Imagine waking up each morning feeling like the world is pushing you in directions you don't want to go. Sometimes it seems like you have no control, right? The traffic, the news, hurtful comments from others, those plans that don't go as expected. With all this, inner peace feels like a mirage. The more you chase it, the more it seems to drift away. But what if I told you there's a way to regain that control? Not over the outside world, but over the one thing that truly matters. Yes, I'm talking about mastering your mind. It's not a new idea or a modern trick. It's a path that great teachers of the ancient world walked thousands of years ago. Today, we're going to talk about Stoic philosophy, a practical guide to navigating chaos without losing yourself in it. Now, before you continue, I want you to do yourself a favor. If this idea resonates with you, if you feel that mastering your mind is exactly what you need to improve your life, subscribe right now. Taking that first step toward transformation is a statement of intent. Leave it in the comments. I commit to practicing virtue, and peace will come to me. That simple act of commitment could be the beginning of something profound. So, let's get into it. Stoicism isn't a philosophy for dreamers, it's a practice for those ready to face life as it is. It invites us to look reality in the face and stop clinging to the idea that we can control everything that happens around us. The world will do what it wants, people will disappoint, plans will change, circumstances will turn against you. The real question is not whether you can avoid chaos but whether you can stand firm in the middle of it. And here is where the first great Stoic principle comes in, the pursuit of inner tranquility. Stoics hold that peace is not found in external things, it is cultivated from within, like a garden you water each day with intention and care. Think about this for a moment. How many times have you allowed an external situation to control your mood? Maybe a negative comment on social media, a work issue, or an unexpected event that derailed your day. Stoics say that none of that should have the power to disturb your inner peace. Because, as long as you depend on things beyond your control to feel good, you will be like a leaf carried by the wind. But if you can find serenity within yourself, then you will be like a rock in the middle of a storm, steady, unmovable, at peace. This inner peace is built through the acceptance of impermanence. Everything changes, nothing lasts forever. The things you value today, the situations you fear today, even the people you love, will at some point no longer be part of your life. This is not about being insensitive but about accepting the transient nature of existence. Suffering is born from attachment, from wanting things to be eternal. When you accept impermanence, you free your mind from that burden, allowing you to live the present with gratitude and without fear. One of the greatest challenges in this quest for serenity is learning to face adversity with equanimity. Life won't give you a pass free of problems, but Stoics see every obstacle as an opportunity to grow. Imagine for a moment that each difficulty you face is a test designed to make you stronger. It's not adversity that defines who you are, but how you choose to respond to it. Courage and discipline are forged in difficult times. No matter how dark the outlook, you always have the power to choose your attitude, your response, and that's what truly matters in maintaining this inner peace. Stoics practice detachment from disturbing emotions like anger, fear, or despair. These emotions are natural, but they shouldn't govern our actions. How many times have you been carried away by anger only to regret it afterward? How many decisions have you made out of fear that later made you feel small? Stoics don't deny these emotions, they simply don't allow them to have the last word. The disciplined mind acknowledges them, feels them, and then lets them go, like a passing cloud that doesn't disturb the clear sky. Now, all this practice of self-control has a higher purpose, to live in accordance with virtue. For Stoics, virtue is the highest good. But what does it mean to live virtuously? It means acting with wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. It's about being someone who does the right thing not because it's easy, but because it's right. When we live aligned with these principles, our conscience is at peace. There's no room for guilt, remorse, or regret because we know we've done what we should. Have you ever chased happiness in external things only to find that it's never enough? Contentment with sufficiency is another key principle of Stoicism. Modern society pushes us to always want more money, more success, more recognition. But Stoics invite us to find satisfaction in what we already have. This doesn't mean giving up our aspirations but learning to value what we have without obsessing over what's missing. True wealth is not in owning much but in needing little. Let's now talk about one of the most powerful pillars of Stoicism, accepting what we cannot control. If you're honest with yourself, how many times have you suffered over things that were completely out of your hands? You've obsessed over others' decisions, past mistakes, or lost sleep imagining futures that may never come. All of that is like carrying a backpack full of stones that doesn't belong to you. And the truth is, until you learn to let go of that useless weight, you'll never have the mental freedom you need to live fully. Stoics understood something we often overlook: the universe is not always going to obey our wishes. Much of what happens around us is beyond our control, other people's opinions, others' decisions, natural events, traffic, past mistakes, or even luck. However, within all that chaos, there's something over which we have absolute power: our mind and our actions. This principle is the key to regaining your serenity. By letting go of what you can't control and focusing your energy on what is within your influence, you free up mental and emotional space. That's where inner freedom blooms. I'm not saying it's easy to let go. It's one of the most difficult tasks, but it's also the most liberating. Think for a moment, how many times have you lost your calm over something you couldn't change? Bad service at a restaurant, a hurtful comment, a sudden change in your plans. Stoics would tell you that every time you get angry or suffer over something outside your control, you're surrendering your inner peace to that event. You're giving away power that should belong solely to you. Life has challenges you can't avoid, but you can decide how to face them. One of the most important exercises in this philosophy is clearly understanding which things are within your control and which are not. Whenever you face a problem or feel frustrated, ask yourself this question: can I change this situation? If the answer is no, then your only sensible option is to accept it and focus on what you can do. Acceptance is not resignation, it's an act of courage, an acknowledgement of reality without pointless resistance. You can't change other people's behavior, but you can choose how to react to them. You can't erase the past, but you can learn from it. You're not guaranteed the future, but you do have control over how you live today. In this, the Stoics are right. Unnecessary suffering comes from expecting the world to work according to our terms, but the universe has its own rules. Accepting this reality is not about giving up on your dreams or stopping to aim for great things. It's about directing your energy toward what truly matters: your mind, your decisions, your values. Now, there's another trap we often fall into: unrealistic expectations. Sometimes we suffer because we expect things or people to be a certain way, and when they're not, frustration consumes us. But have you ever stopped to think that frustration doesn't come from the event itself but from your expectations? If you expect it to never rain on your picnic or for everyone to treat you fairly, sooner or later you'll feel disappointed. Stoic wisdom teaches us to let go of those unrealistic expectations and accept things as they are, not as we wish they were. This doesn't mean being indifferent, it means maintaining a more realistic perspective. Peace doesn't come from wishing things to always go well, but from learning to be okay no matter what happens. Accepting reality also entails something deeper: facing adversity with serenity. Throughout life, there will be losses, disappointments, and tough moments. Resisting those moments is like fighting against a powerful current. It will only exhaust you and leave you sinking. Instead, the Stoics teach us to see adversity as an opportunity to develop virtues like patience, resilience, and courage. Each obstacle is a hidden teacher, every challenge an opportunity for growth. And when you stop fighting the inevitable, something beautiful happens: you find peace. The Stoics also insist on a truth many of us forget: worrying about the future or lamenting the past robs us of the present. What's done is done. No matter how many times you replay it in your mind, the past won't change, and the future, no matter how much you try to control it, is uncertain. Spending your mental energy on those two time frames is like trying to catch the wind with your hands. You have only one real thing: this moment, here and now. When you accept what you can't control, you free yourself from a huge emotional burden. You realize that your worries won't solve future problems, nor will your regrets improve past mistakes. The key is to focus your attention on the present, where you can truly act, where you have power. And do you know what happens when you do this? You start to feel lighter, you begin to live with more gratitude and less anxiety. In that conscious present is where true serenity lies. Now, all of this may sound inspiring, but it also raises a question: how do I apply this in my daily life? Because reading or hearing about these principles is only the beginning. Stoic philosophy is a constant practice, a daily effort to train your mind to let go of what you can't control and focus on what you can. Here are some practical exercises to get started. Do a daily inventory of your worries. Every night, take a few minutes to write down the things that worried you throughout the day. Then, ask yourself, were these things under my control? If they weren't, mark them and commit to letting them go. Visualize adversity. Imagine possible difficulties you might face during the day and visualize how you would approach them with calm. This isn't being pessimistic, but mentally preparing yourself so that when things don't go as expected, you don't lose your cool. Practice conscious gratitude. Each day, identify at least 3 things you're grateful for in this moment, no matter how small they are. This is one of the best tools to bring your mind back to the present. Accept mistakes as lessons. Every time something doesn't go as planned, instead of lamenting it, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Remember, adversity is part of the path to wisdom. In the end, accepting what you can't control is both an act of humility and of power. It's acknowledging that you're not the director of the universe's play, but you have the ability to play your role with grace and dignity. When you manage to do this, you free yourself from unnecessary suffering and regain control over the only things that truly matter: your mind, your decisions, and your attitude. Now we reach the heart of Stoicism, the practice of virtue as the highest good. This is where Stoic teachings cease to be merely interesting reflections and become a practical roadmap to a full and meaningful life. For the Stoics, virtue is not an abstract aspiration or a luxury for easy times. It is the very essence of authentic happiness, one that doesn't rely on anything external. Practicing virtue is living with integrity in every action, aligning what you think, feel, and do with the highest values: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. This is where you truly find freedom, because a life lived according to virtue is one that doesn't fear others' judgments, losses, or difficulties. Let's go deeper. What does it mean to live a virtuous life? Imagine, for a moment, that every decision you make is guided not by your fleeting emotions or others' approval, but by your deepest principles. Imagine always acting with a clear conscience, knowing you did the right thing regardless of the circumstances. It's not easy, but it's the path to an invulnerable inner peace. When you act according to virtue, nothing and no one can take away that internal satisfaction. That's the kind of happiness the Stoics sought, one that doesn't depend on luck, success, or external circumstances. Stoic philosophy offers us 4 cardinal virtues as foundational pillars. Let's examine them closely, for within them lies the key to a strong mind and an unbreakable spirit. The first virtue is wisdom. Practicing wisdom means learning to discern between what truly matters and what is irrelevant. It's seeing things with clarity, without self-deception or distractions. Wisdom allows us to recognize that many things we believe are important, like social approval or status, actually have no intrinsic value. It means being aware that your time and energy are limited, and so you must direct them toward what is essential: living well, acting rightly, and cultivating inner peace. Wisdom is not knowing everything but understanding enough to live a full life. The second virtue is courage. This virtue isn't just about bravery in the face of danger, but also the strength needed to do what's right when it's hard, when it's frightening, or when no one else does it. It's the courage to follow your principles, even when circumstances seem against you. It's facing rejection, criticism, or failure without deviating from your path. Often, courage doesn't manifest in grand heroic acts but in small daily decisions: getting up when you don't feel like it, being honest when it would be easier to lie, or staying calm amid conflict. Each of those choices strengthens your character. The third virtue is justice. For the Stoics, justice isn't just a legal matter, it's acting with fairness, treating others with respect, and contributing to the common good. It's recognizing that we're all part of a larger community and that our actions impact others. Justice means doing what's right even when no one is watching and making decisions not only for your own benefit but with the collective welfare in mind. Being just means avoiding resentment and envy, understanding that we're all humans struggling with our own challenges. When you practice justice, you build healthier relationships and create a more harmonious environment around you. The fourth virtue is temperance. This is the ability to control your impulses, desires, and emotions so that you're not enslaved by them. In a world that constantly bombards you with the idea that more is better, temperance invites you to find satisfaction in enough. Practicing temperance is resisting the temptation of excess, eating only what's necessary, avoiding unnecessary distractions, and regulating your emotions to avoid reacting impulsively. It's finding balance in every aspect of your life. Temperance gives you the power to decide rather than being swept away by your desires or emotions. Living according to these virtues isn't a destination you reach once, but a path you walk every day. There will be times when you fail, days when you fall into anger, envy, or fear. But what matters is that each mistake is an opportunity to reflect, learn, and return to the path. The Stoics didn't aspire to perfection but to continuous improvement. Each day is a new opportunity to be a bit wiser, more just, braver, and more temperate than the day before. This is where the real magic of Stoicism lies: emotional self-sufficiency. When you practice virtue consistently, you find that you no longer need external things to feel good about yourself. Your happiness doesn't depend on approval, success, or favorable circumstances. It's within you, in the satisfaction that comes from knowing you live with integrity. This kind of emotional self-sufficiency is the greatest freedom you can achieve. You're no longer a prisoner of your desires, fears, or others' opinions. You're free because you have taken control of the only thing that truly belongs to you, your mind and your actions. But reaching this state requires constant practice and, above all, self-knowledge. The Stoics teach us that knowing oneself is the first step toward virtue. You must be brutally honest with yourself, recognize your weaknesses, your irrational desires, and the areas where you still need to grow. Daily self-evaluation is essential. Did I act justly today? Was I wise in my decisions? Did I have the courage to face my fears? Did I maintain temperance in the face of temptation? Each day is an opportunity to improve, and each improvement, no matter how small, adds up to a more virtuous and meaningful life. It's important to remember that virtue isn't practiced in isolation. Every interaction, every difficulty, and every ordinary moment in life is an opportunity to apply these principles. Living according to virtue means choosing the right path even when no one else does. It means acting with integrity when you could easily get away with doing the opposite. It means being the kind of person you want to be, even when the world doesn't make it easy. And here is where Stoicism's greatest gift lies, the tranquility that comes from knowing you've done the right thing. When you live according to your principles, you have nothing to fear. You don't need others' approval, nor do you fear material losses, because you are already enough. You already have everything you need within you. Before we wrap up, I want you to make one last commitment to yourself. Write in the comments, "I commit to practicing virtue, and peace will come to me." This commitment may seem small, but it's a powerful reminder that every day is a new opportunity to be better, to live with purpose, and to find peace within. Thank you for watching, and if you're looking for more guidance on Stoic principles and how to apply them to your life, make sure to subscribe and check out the other videos on the channel. Remember, peace and freedom start within, and the Stoic path offers you the tools to find them.